Game of Life Training.
Hey guys, Aaron David Spiegel here with Game of Life Training for the Game of Life. I'm just going to share some of my thoughts with you, kind of how I got the thoughts, but today is ideally an inspiring conversation for you that you can realize that you can change who you are if you want to, not necessarily who you are, but different things. Make it easier to have a better experience in this life. That's the whole goal, right? The purpose of this life is joy. I got that from Abraham. So I've been studying this kind of stuff for a long time, just trying to figure it out. And I've, studied a lot of different people, and I've come to understand a few things. And those few things are that we can create the experience that we're having around us. We can create it by directing our focus, becoming aware of what we're thinking, where we're giving our attention, where we're focusing our energy. But it's really hard to do that because the TV takes your energy, or your focus. The computer takes your focus. It tells you, what to think. It gives you the words. So at no time are you questioning the words that you're using. If you guys know me, then you know that words create. If you know me at all, you know that words create. And it's like a literal thing. They literally create the experience that we're having around us. When you say something, and this is, the mantra and exercise thing. When you say I'm getting healthier, this is such a good one, right? When you say I'm getting healthier every day, what you're saying is a command to your mind to envision what that looks like for you to be getting healthier every day. And what you do is you start a pattern of thought just by using those words, right? So you get a pattern of thought. So now you're drawing in more of those type of thoughts from the universe to support I'm getting healthier every day. Does that make sense? So if you say I'm a fat ass, what happens is your brain says I'm a fat ass. And now what it does is it seeks out opportunities for that to be true. And it says, okay, if if you're a fat ass, then those fries look good. Right? That's different words, different results. So if you say I'm getting healthier, you have to be aware of what you're saying to yourself, because people have been programmed. You're watching all kinds of stuff out there that says, talk about general conditioning across the populace. Divorce is rampant. I have a friend that's getting a divorce right now. And it doesn't surprise me because it's encouraged and it's in the media, in the movies, it's belittled. It's people don't take it to heart because you're told all around you that marriage is temporary. Whereas, 30 or 50 years ago, marriage was a permanent sanctuary between a man and a woman. You were bonding for life as a partnership under God, under spirit, man and wife, to accomplish this world together, to have children, to procreate. That was what was taught. Okay. So in the last however many years, and it's been a long, long time, really, we've been hijacked in the media, and we've been told exactly what to believe from the time that we're in elementary school, going to daycare. They basically, here's the curriculum, teach the children this. Well, where that curriculum came from was not a benevolent source for us as humans. So we weren't taught certain things. So when you don't know this and you've not been taught this, you're really just ignorant. You can't make a change in your life consciously, intentionally. It's not even possible. You can't just say, I'm going to. I mean, it is possible. But what's going to happen is when you understand that your words are creating, you can pick and choose the words that you want to use to create the outcome or the experience that you want to have. But you first have to become aware of that. So what are you saying to yourself all day long? What are you saying? Are you saying, I'm just, I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like it. I'll do that. I'll do that. But right now I'm too, young to have that happen. Like if you know me, I quit drinking alcohol. That made a big difference for me, right? But it was a belief for me that, like, I still have time. I'm still able to drink alcohol. I'm still allowed to drink alcohol. That was a belief, right? That could be a belief for you too. You don't have to hold on to that belief. That's kind of the point of your words. They've been giving you all the words. They've been telling you what to believe. I say they, but the TV, media, society, the people that seem to direct the education. So they tell you what to think. And this is the idea of being able to start to think for yourself, because until you become aware that you're being programmed or have been programmed your whole life, and it's good, bad, or indifferent. Some things are great. Some things that you learned are great. Some things are not supported. You don't need those things any longer. So you can let those go. So all of that to say, I was thinking of a word. I wanted to share a word today and say, do a little mantra with me. Like I'm becoming more aware of miracles every day. Okay. Those are words, but if you say those to yourself, I am becoming more aware of miracles every day. Or I say to myself, I see miracles happen every day. And then what happens is I start to recognize what those miracles are. Now, I want to read to you the definition of miracle so you understand it's not just a religious term. It's a word. It says a miracle is an event that is perceived as extraordinary, inexplicable by ordinary natural laws, and often understood as the result of divine action, higher intelligence, or a reality beyond conventional cause and effect. So basically, it's something that's out of the norm that we wouldn't expect, that it's outside of our normal belief system, like almost unexplainable, right? But usually it's a good connotation, a miracle, right? And it says etymology is the word miracle comes from the Latin miraculum, miraculum, miraculum. You guys can help me on that. Meaning object of wonder, from myrai, to wonder, to marvel, to be astonished. At its root, a miracle is not merely something impossible, but something that forces awareness to pause and recognize awe. That's a miracle, okay? So it's a Christmas miracle. No, it's like, so you're just like, wow, that just really happened. Like, it's almost inexplicable, but that just happened. Like, you can't explain it, but that's a miracle, right? When you're praying for somebody and you're seeing them healthy and then they become healthy, somebody would say that that's a miracle. Somebody would say that, right? That would be a thing. Or just if somebody, you weren't praying for them, all of a sudden they came back around and they got healthy. That's a miracle, I mean, it's still a miracle. It's just like you can't really explain it. So I was thinking about the word. That's the word of the day, miracle, right? But that sent me down a little rabbit hole, and I started thinking about a little bit more. And it says miracle versus coincidence. This is like ChatGPT. It was giving me some stuff, But so my next thought was reborn. What is that? Because today's the first of the year, right? Today's a day that you can be reborn. And what does it mean to be reborn? And I'm not talking religious, okay? Get back. It's not about religion. Reborn, definition, reborn means brought into a new state of being, renewed, transformed, or awakened, often after a period of loss, collapse, death, literal or symbolic, or profound change. It implies continuity of identity with radical renewal, not replacement. So basically, it says etymology. From Old English, be oren. Again, barren, to bear, to carry, to bring forth. Literally, to be born again. The word carries the sense of being carried through something and emerging changed, not simply starting over. So essentially, it's like you recognizing the things inside of you or the experiences that you're giving to things and then saying, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not willing to accept that anymore. I understand now that I'm actually having some control over my perception, which means how I act. It's going to change how I act if I perceive things differently, right? So my perception, my words, if I'm aware of what I'm saying to myself in my head, but that's the first step, right? That's the hard part. Most people are talking to themselves all day long and they don't know that they're talking to themselves. So you have to first become aware, I'm talking to myself all day long. Then listen to what are you saying to yourself, because a lot of that stuff is not real. It's not true. It's just a recording that keeps flipping and going again and again because it was in there so many times. When you were little and you learned something to the effect of, you're not fast. That was me. I learned I wasn't fast. I was slow. That's what I thought. And I believed it. And it was only once I changed the way I thought and I said, I'm getting faster every day. This is what I did to myself. Okay. So I'm just testifying from the understanding of watching what I'm telling you play out in real time. You can do the same thing, but you have to first become aware of it and then question, what do you want? So this new year, what do you want for this new year? You have to have some idea of what you want. What would you like to do or not do? Or would you like to write a book? Would you like to become a billionaire? Would you like to fly a plane? Would you like to, these are some of the things for me. I'm not clear on my goals. I'm really, to be honest, quite flighty. I have things around me all the time to direct what I focus on, but I really don't have any, I kind of like the idea of a float, just the surprise of life, see what happens to some extent. I mean, I do set goals too. So I'm not saying don't set goals, because goals are, again, your attention, where your attention goes. The reason that they want to steal your attention so badly is because when you're in control of your own mind and your own thoughts and your own beliefs, and you empower that and you have power in that and you have confidence in that, you are unable to be controlled. That's why it's so powerful to understand your words are creating. This is a voluntary system that we live in, okay? You have to volunteer to anything that happens in your life. You're either volunteering by way of creation or you're volunteering by way of subjugation. You're just allowing for it to happen without any retaliation. When you understand words create, when you understand you have the source inside of you to create whatever it is in this world, when you get that, nobody can tell you how or what to do with your life or how you can live, so long as you're not causing loss, injury, or harm to anybody else, right? So when you understand words create, you can start creating what you want in this world rather than seeing things and accepting that as just the way things are. Because TV is used to direct your mind subconsciously. Like you're just getting the information, you're accepting it. You're not even, they laugh about divorce. Okay. That's one way that they get in your head as it's a good thing. Okay. And then they shrug it off, and they do. And it's like on TV, and it's all around you. And if you've talked to a friend, people get married, but at some point things don't seem to mesh the same way or together anymore. But if you're married, the whole concept of marriage is to, better or worse, thicker or thin, you know what I mean? But society doesn't teach that. That's why they want to get rid of any understanding of that, whether, whatever kind of religion that you seek. But if you just see, or think, I mean, we're meant to be. I'm meant to be with a woman, and a woman is meant to be with a man, right? We're meant that way. You have a uterus and ovaries and reproductive system. I mean, they did teach us this stuff. I'm 51. I don't know what they teach kids today. I mean, but I know that kids are very confused. People are confused in general. Everybody needs help. I get people that call me for pep talks on a regular basis just because I have to remind them, look, dude, you're creating these things. In order to break the pattern of those creations, they say speak it into existence, right? It means something. When you say, I'm getting healthier every day, you're speaking that into existence. You're creating. Then you're thinking on that. You're focused toward it. You see things now that you wouldn't have otherwise seen. So use your words. You become reborn. You die to the person or situation that you had yesterday, because you don't choose those words anymore. But until you understand the things that you're saying to yourself are creating that, and then you do change that, you can't do anything until you understand that. And then what you do is you take and you rehearse that. And that's consistency. And another word of the day, okay? It doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be. You do it consistently. But if you don't remind yourself every day, whatever it is that you want for this year, if you really want some stuff, I mean, I may just go through the exercise my own self, but I'm not, well, maybe on camera. Who knows? That wasn't my intention today. But just basically, write down whatever it is that you want. I say life is good. I feel good. Good things are always happening to me. Life is good. I feel good. Good things are always happening to me. Because you know what that means. You can say that to yourself, and you should say that to yourself all day long. And then recognize it. Because when you use your words, you do that, and then you imagine what it would be like if that was true already, and you get that feeling, and then magically this realm or reality bends to bring these things to you, these experiences. But it all starts in recognition of your words, the words that you're saying to yourself, other people, the words that you're accepting from other people or situations, the TV, social media. You're fighting with people on social media? Seriously. How? Why? Do you want to fight with people on social media? Do you want to fight with people on social media? Do you want to fight at all? Who wants to? Why? Because you're using your words wrong, and because you've basically given your power away. Your emotions are not in your hands. They're in somebody else's hands that's told you how to act, and you're listening. Because, again, until you understand what I'm talking about, you're ignorant. You're not to be at fault, because you can't be. You can't be yourself wrong. You see this shirt? This is awesome, okay? You are being the best you that you know how to be. Salvation comes in understanding that your words are creating. That's the salvation of this realm, of this earth. That's how you can learn to navigate. You stop saying the things that you don't want. And that's a practice, okay? It's a practice for mastery. It's a practice for life. You start saying only those things that you do want. Life is good. I feel good. Good things are always happening to me. When you say that, you say it all day long. Say it 300 times, 500 times. Say it like a madman until it becomes true, because it is true for me. I can attest. People can doubt me. They can say whatever they want. But they're not in my head. They don't live in, my experience, which is just amazing. Truly it is. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm humbled. I'm, honored. I love that I get to share the information with people, with the right people at the right time, because it's a practice. I just remind people that already know this. Use your words. But when the easiest way that you can do something to direct whatever it is that you want is to start claiming it now with an I am. You say, I am becoming. You say, I am reborn. You say that. Just watch that every day. When you say I'm reborn, that triggers, what do I want to be? What am I reborn into? Especially, ideally it's moving toward the better, right? But you're reborn. When you're reborn, you're leaving that old stuff behind. So you're claiming new words. You write that stuff down. You say, I am becoming a better father every day. I'm becoming a better businessman every day. I'm becoming a better provider every day. I'm becoming a better communicator every day. I'm becoming whatever it is. I'm becoming more at peace every day. Jesus, slow down. The world has got you. And until you get away from that and pull back and decide, I'm taking my time right here to reflect and think, what do I want? Do I want to act this way? Do I want to be this way? If not, then you write it down. How do I want to be? Do you want to be impatient? Do you want to be ignorant? Do you want to be judgmental? Do you want to be those things? Because when we're being those things, we're experiencing those things. The best thing you can learn is the golden rule. The best thing you can live by is the golden rule. The golden rule is not for them. It's for you. When you give away love or give away kindness or you give away time or you give away an experience or you give away your attention to somebody in a positive way, you're experiencing that. It's really quite selfish because you want to feel good. Because anytime that you're doing something against somebody or to somebody, your most inner being knows better. And you're screwing yourself because essentially that's the God inside that you can't run from, you can't hide from. That, it's like the Santa Claus, he knows what you're thinking. That. So we get distracted, we glaze over, we find our, a different, instead of looking inside. That's what you got to do. You got to look inside and then create what you want outside. You do that with your words. And you do that with a mantra. And if you don't have a mantra, you need to have a mantra. Everybody should have a mantra because it's for you. When you write it down, it's for you. It's not for anybody else. It's for you. It's how you want to be. And I would say when you write your mantra down, you don't say it. You don't tell other people, you might tell people that you wrote a new mantra, but you definitely don't share that mantra with other people because it's yours. And when you give your words to somebody else to interpret, they're going to have their experience with those words based on what they know about you. So they could inadvertently hurt you by thinking there's no way you're going to accomplish that, or that is not you whatsoever. And you're going to share that with them, and you're going to pick up on that. And it's going to affect how you produce whatever it is. So you keep that mantra to yourself. You keep those words to yourself. If you can, pray in private, say those things to yourself. And then imagine them. What do you want for the new year? What do you want to accomplish? And it could be this week, next week, it could be for the whole year. It's really a matter of what do you want? See, success is defined by you. I can say that very easily because what success is to some is not the same as what it is to others. You tell me corporate success, you sell me on that concept. I would say that that's hell on earth is what I would call that. And I'm not belittling or downplaying or degrading anybody that's in corporate America. I'm not. I just could not. I've never ever been able to, because I always felt like, some schmuck is going to tell me who's an idiot, and he's my boss. It just so happened that that's how it happens, right? I go in and this guy ends up being my boss and he's an idiot. I know he's an idiot, but he's like power hungry or some shit. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're working with different types of personalities. So in the corporate world, to me, I would not sell my soul. That's what I consider it to be, because I do not want that kind of environment. I want the ability and of choice and time freedom and freedom in general, and also you can learn and ask questions, but to have a boss, I would encourage you all to not have a boss. I would encourage you to find something that you like to do and build a business out of it, or start sharing it with other people, selling it or taking contributions, whatever the case. Get community, because things are crazy out there right now and everybody knows that they're crazy. So if we can collectively get a hold of our words, see, harmony within the world, start experiencing better with each other, less chaos, less separation, less divide. And again, this is just something I throw out there. If you're political at nature and you believe in the two-party system, you've been duped. That's just what I'm going to say. Okay. Because all of that is a circus in order to grab your attention and divide you and keep you pitted against one another, so that you're so busy being emotionally charged and you're divisive. Your attention is not on yourself. You're not sitting here thinking, how can I build a better world? How can I be a better person? How can I become a better version of myself? That's the great thing. See, when I say you can't be yourself wrong, you can't, because it's a revelation that happens at a certain point where you're, it's kind of given to you. Nobody's special. It's called the gift of grace. It's the gift of grace. That's what it is. So you get that gift, and then with that gift, you experience, and then you share, and then you share, and then you share. And that's what we should be doing, sharing with other people this amazing ability that we have, the power that we have within us, and the root power just being using our words. But I'll tell you what, they have captured the words. They're eliminating words. I don't know if you know this, but they're trying to, through AI and people forgetting and not using the word as much, so that people just go away from it. They're getting rid of words right now. So words that are in the dictionary now won't be in the dictionary coming soon. And when everything's digital, they can say whatever they want. So I would say, don't get a digital ID. Don't buy into the digital system. Try to use cash. Try to learn your neighbors, learn the land, learn the things that we were meant to know, how to have remedy, how to create remedy, how to feed yourself, how to fish, how to hunt, how to butcher, how to those things that we need to learn. If we don't already know, we don't need to learn, but we should know these things. Anyway, so get a hold of your words. Say these things to yourself. Anyway, yeah, we should. I think that's where we need to go. We need to understand, get back to the land, become more self-sufficient, Become aware of your words, use your words, disconnect from what you've been, literally bombarded with your whole life. Authority, tyranny, people telling you what to do. And then everybody just accepts that that's okay because they've been taught that their whole life. So how do you know? You're not wrong. You're just ignorant. You can't make better decisions in your life until you know that there are better decisions to be made. In a two-party system, they give you two people to choose from, and you think you have to decide on two people. That's just not the truth. That's the illusion. That's what I say about voluntary. You don't have to volunteer into that. It's a voluntary system. I'm not going to go into law because I've been studying that for some time, and I've got some stuff going on my own self. But I've been studying the stuff, and everybody just accepts that somebody can just come and take your stuff. Somebody can yank you out off the street at any time and search you. Somebody can, that's what the TV says. But if you think about it, like if I came up and I'm wearing a Walmart costume and I said, let me see your backpack. And they'll be like, why do you want to see my backpack? Give me your backpack. But it's a Walmart guy. Like, you're like, dude, you're not seeing my backpack. Why do you want to see my backpack? I mean, you want me to tell you something about what do you want? Why are you even bothering me right now? I'm just walking and I'm outside of your store. This is what people don't get, though. There's no, that's not common sense. It would be common sense just to know that I can't just come up to you and start ordering you around and telling you what to do. If you're not doing anything to anybody and you're not causing any, essentially loss, injury, or harm, if you're not doing that, how can somebody come up to you and tell you what you're allowed to do? That's the rules. Who made those rules? Do those rules really make sense for you or me or us as a society? I mean, if you're not doing anything wrong, but we've been so infiltrated that the majority of people just look around, they see the things as they are, they accept them, that's just the way it is, and they think that there's nothing to do about it or that they can do about it. But each person can do their own part. You can do your own part. And that takes just becoming a better person is where it starts, because the better you do for yourself, the better you can do for other people. You can't really do that well for other people if you're not taking care of yourself. This is not my rule, okay? This is the rule. It's a rule, but you have to first take care of yourself. It's called me time, mantra, and exercise every day. Me time. And you do 20 minutes of exercise, and you put your mantra on in your ear, and it tells you what you were thinking, what you're reborn into. It tells you that. That's how you repeat it. Instead of being brainwashed by the stuff on TV that they want you to believe to disempower you, you brainwash your own self to empower your own self. That's what you do. You have to first do it, though, okay? So it's like, use the momentum, do it now, write something down. I'm becoming more aware every day. I'm becoming more assertive every day. I'm becoming more inspired every day. I'm becoming more patient every day. I'm becoming, again, more calm, more at peace, more I'm sleeping better every day. When you say I'm sleeping better every day, your brain says, no, you're not. Well, maybe. But what happens is then you start searching for it, or somebody says here, do a breathing thing like this before you go to sleep. You're like, the answer comes to you, but you have to start with that. So use your words, use your imagination, use your common sense. Share this with people, because people don't have common sense, and it's not their fault. They weren't taught common sense. They weren't taught to think for yourself, to question. You're a man or a woman. Who has the authority over you? What other man or woman has the authority over you? And then just because you're being told, like, I thought about this too. A mandate. What is a mandate, guys? A mandate is like a suggestion, but it sounds so terrible. And the point is, it's a voluntary system. If more people volunteered to not wear a mask during COVID, it wouldn't have lasted 2 years. I can say that, and then we've learned a lot since then, right? So it's kind of a great awakening. And this is part of that. Using your words, sharing with other people, becoming community, encouraging, be more encouraging, be more loving, experience a better world than what has been given to you. We're not a tree. We're not stuck. You can change. You can become better. But at first is the realization that you want to become better. You want to achieve some certain thing or experience in your life. That's how. And then you write it down and you say, you can just say that. I'm becoming better every day. I'm becoming better every day. And you'll become better. I promise. It works for everybody every time. I do appreciate you watching. Spread this around. Share this with your friends. If you have any questions, personal message me. Find me on Facebook. Aaron David Spiegel, Game of Life Training Game of Life Training. And I appreciate you guys. I would love to help you build a mantra. If you don't already have one or give you some advice, you can feel free to call me. My phone number is 513-604-5621, 513-604-5621. I think I was going further too, but I'm not going to go. So I appreciate you guys watching. Look for more, subscribe, share, and we'll see you the next time. Word.